One of the, for me, and I read a lot of grand jury reports indeed, somewhat troubling comments in the report was that the committee has some concerns, that's what they expressed, has some concerns that not all the information given by the interviewees was truthful. This is very strong language that I have rarely basically never seen in in a civil grand jury report. Any comment on or thought on that?
No, again, I don't know who they're referring to. So I know I answered all my questions truthfully, but I can't comment for who they're talking about. That is pretty sad if they don't feel that way. I would hope that all representatives and people that went there told the truth, but I don't know. And it's also has some concerns. So you don't know if they just got that feeling, that gut feeling, or anything. Is there any facts behind that? I don't know. I like to deal a lot more in facts and not just sometimes my gut feeling, you know. But it is concerning if they got that feeling, that maybe somebody didn't go in there and they didn't feel that they were completely honest. That's concerning.
Yeah, I found that concerning too, indeed. The other recommendation, let's go to the recommendations. One of the first recommendation is the superintendent and board members should be trained in communication and meeting skills. This would allow the board members and the public an opportunity to express and work out concerns. What are you thinking about this recommendation?
Well, I think that's always good that to be able to communicate better and everything. I've just looked at what we had already started doing in this recommendation area. That the I've had a mini press conference that you were when we had a big issue with Fund 20. I had a mini press conference trying to make sure that the same message is sent out to both. We try to push out information to both news agencies when being made. Um, we're trying to have an open door policy if the media comes in and asks us questions, much like right now. Nothing to hide. So I think the communication there, we're trying to get better and better. We've started update our district website and talking to our site principals to update their sites. So um, I think we've already started moving in that direction even before yesterday. These were things that we were starting to look at, putting the contact information of each individual board member on our website. Thanks to your pictures, also puts a picture with them. So I think those things we were already moving forward on even before I saw this yesterday. So um, I think we're moving to get that solved.
Another thing here, or two things are clearly regarding board meetings. One recommendation is board meetings should be held at a reasonable time. So question here would, are you considering, recommending to the board to change the time to an earlier time? And the other point is the public should be allowed adequate time to express their concerns in open session at board meetings. And to be honest, because I have looked or have been present at all board meetings, I have in the last 2 years and even before you became superintendent in early 2014, never seen that somebody from the public was interrupted and basically not had the opportunity to express his or her whatever concerns. So what are you saying to these two recommendations? Changing the time and
Um,
allowing people to express their concerns.
Sure. Changing the time, I think the standard probably around is somewhere a meeting either starting between 6 and 7. We've got board members that are working and have to travel. They get off at about 5 and they have to travel a good 30 minutes or so. So we couldn't really start too much earlier than our closed session starting at 6 and our open session starting at 7. So I think that's a reasonable time. Again, you go back to the recommendation and what is reasonable. I don't know. I don't know. Past practice was 6 and 7 not considered reasonable? It seems reasonable to me. It's not too early that the people, especially up here, that live off the mountain and finish their work 5:30, can try to get to a board meeting at 7. That seems reasonable to me. In Bakersfield, maybe you could start at 6 because people get off at 5 and they don't have a commute. But here we have a commute, so I think it's reasonable. I agree with you as far as I think more than ample time since I've been in the district, more than ample time is given to public to address. We never start a clock. We can limit their comments, but we never start a clock, and I don't think we've ever thrown the gavel down and stopped anybody. So I'm assuming these findings and these recommendations are based on previous times that I have no knowledge of. So I don't know. I don't see any of those issues happening right now.
Okay, last but not least, and you may not be able to address that, but recommendation 6 is board members should take into consideration the needs of the entire district. If you look, and you have been for the last, 14 months around, participated in each board meeting, did you have the feeling that board members did not take into the consideration the needs of the entire district? What's your feeling? I know you don't do gut feelings, but
that's a tough one because I can't speak for anybody else. I have a feeling of where the district, I'd like to see the district go, and it may be different from another board meeting. And I think that's why everybody's elected, so that they represent different factions of the community, and you get that different input. So, I feel you're talking about that, that. Basically, you're looking at number 6, I think.
Number 6 it is.
Yeah, and my response basically is that the board members have the right to express their opinions and opinions of people that they've talked to in the community. And then once they express those and they decide, what I've noticed with this board for the most part, is once they decide and they take a vote, we move forward, and now we're back on the same page. A good one example of, vote 3-2 to give layoff notices. Once the vote was done and it became what the board decided by majority, then you don't see any politician of the, of the two that said no. They dropped the issue and off we go. Here's what we're going. So I think they have the right to be able to express their opinions. As long as there's no yelling and screaming, and that doesn't happen with this board. They're very professional in talking to each other. So I think, you see opinions being stated, and then you see a vote being taken, and I think after the vote's taken, the board acknowledges the wishes of the majority of the board, and they move forward.
The recommendation also says, recommendation number 7, the district should consult legal counsel regarding the Brown Act on conflict of interest and personal concerns. Have you had I will not say an opportunity, but issues when you had to consult legal counsel from the superintendent of schools in Kern County, or have you never done that before?
No, actually, prior to my arriving here, I was informed that they had several trainings on the Brown Act as far as the board that was in place at that time. And in our situation, yes, we've contacted, anytime we're looking at, we have 2 board members and actually 3 board members that are direct relatives or married, have spouses that are employees of the district. So anytime we're talking about something that deals with possibly their relatives or spouses, we contact schools legal and make sure we get their opinion so that I can inform the board and let them know that this seems to be a conflict of interest, or this does not seem to be a conflict of interest. And many times they'll contact me, the board will contact me and say, is this going to be a conflict of interest? So they're very knowledgeable, even though this says they're not. They are very knowledgeable and very accepting of an opinion that it may be a conflict of interest, therefore they're going to abstain. I think just recently one of the board members abstained from a vote because they thought it may be a conflict of interest, and so they abstained from the vote. So